everybody, Teen Wolf is back. We are back with season 5 of Teen Wolf. We have 10 more episodes to complete the season, and episode 11, The Last Chimera, did not disappoint. When the episode starts, we see Lydia in a body of water, walking up to a bridge, and we're like, okay, she's looking and telling what she sees to Dr. Valak. And basically, she is witnessing somehow what THEO did to his sister. And what we found out from that was he took his sister's heart. He was the first genetic chimera of the Dread Doctor's experiments that have been going on recently, of their new round of experiments, I should say. So we're seeing Lydia in that catatonic state that we saw her in at the beginning of season 5. And we see a hole in her head that the doctor put in there, and I'm like, why? And apparently he amplified her ability somehow by doing that. I don't know. I have no idea what's going on right now. I am so confused. I'm just as confused as y'all about this. But she is in Eichen House, and it's not good. It's not good what's going on with Lydia. Basically, in this episode, we're still jumping back from the present to the past. And Lydia's telling what happened with the pack up into the point where she is in Eichen House. After THEO found out from Lydia the location of the Nematon, she was in a catatonic state. Parrish found her after he has this vision of Lydia, and she warns him that someone's dying, and apparently it's her. He goes and wakes up driving his car, then proceeds to call the sheriff's department, and Hayden's sister answers and says, "You've been missing. You broke out and shit's hit the fan." Well, that's kind of what she said. And Parrish proceeds to search for Lydia, goes to the Nematon, finds Lydia. She is missing a couple of her nails because she like scratched into the Nematon or a stone or something. I can't even remember what she scratched into, but she like did the symbol of a badge. And it's warning about Sheriff Stilinski. Now, Scott, what's going on with Scott? Oh, poor Scott. He is not healing normally. He is just off his game still. Hopefully in this second part of the season, he is going to rise to the occasion and be his badass self again. He's trying to get to the hospital to support Stiles and stuff, but he passes out and Parrish finds him, and he has Lydia with him just kind of standing there. She's standing there hypothermic, like, and I want to yell at Parrish at this point. Why don't you throw a blanket on her or something? Scott finally makes it to the hospital. Stiles is freaking out this whole episode because his dad is poisoned, and Scott has been missing. He wasn't there to help out with his dad, and Stiles is just in angry Stiles mode, and he is not happy with Scott. He attacks Scott when Scott arrives, and Scott proceeds to let him hit him, and once Stiles is pulled apart, Scott and Stiles come to a sort of truce, per se, and they start searching for a way to save the sheriff. They find out that the chimera that attacked the sheriff poisoned him, and he's got some berserker in him, and some of his bone marrow got into the sheriff, and they have to take that out to save him. We see a lot of really cool flashback scenes with Stiles and his dad, and the feels were intense in all of those moments. We see Stiles with his dad at his mother's funeral, and his dad says, "You still got me." And when his dad wakes up from being poisoned and starting to heal, he says that same thing to Stiles, and I'm just like, yes. These are just some of the best moments of this show. I love the relationships all the characters have with each other, and especially the relationship of Stiles with his dad, Scott with his mom, that Allison had with her dad. It's great stuff. When we see Malia in this episode, it's not for very long, but she basically helps Scott and Stiles find that chimera, and that's about it. Besides the part where the Dread Doctors show up, and guess who comes and saves them? Chris Argent. Yes, Chris Argent is back, you guys. I love him so much. He is one of my all-time favorite Teen Wolf characters. He's just, I can't even explain why he's one of my favorite characters. I just love him. He's so awesome. Love him. Love him. In this episode, my heart breaks for Liam. He is feeling like utter garbage right now because he almost killed his alpha, and Hayden is dead, supposedly, and he's wrestling with the decision of telling her sister about what happened. And then when he smells her, he thinks she's alive, so he goes on a search for the Nematon, finds it, does not find Hayden, and then Hayden shows up, showing the cops where the Nematon and bodies are, and we're like, okay, really? I'm not a big fan of Hayden at this point, the way she's treating Liam. One thing that really was interesting was when Stiles tricked THEO into thinking Scott was still dead. He got THEO to show up and admit a lot of things, except for the fact that he has a bunch of chimeras running about with him. He didn't mention that, of course. THEO is behind the scenes a lot in this episode, orchestrating a lot of things, and Hayden is helping him, and I'm just not cool with this. And in the jumps back and forth between the past and the present, we see THEO and his pack of chimeras breaking into Eichen House to take Lydia in order to lure Parrish, the Hellhound, for some reason. I have no idea why they want Parrish. I don't know how that's gonna help them, but hopefully it's explained well later on. He shows up, of course, and does not look happy. One thing that I really liked, though, before this scene that happened when they came to get Lydia, was we see THEO with Hayden, and they're looking for that chimera that attacked the sheriff. They figure that he's basically dead because the Dread Doctors found him. But after that, they look up and they see Scott's pack symbol, and I was just like, yes. Things are starting to get real this season, and Scott is gonna be more badass than ever. And when Lydia tells Dr. Valak, before THEO and them show up, about that symbol, Dr. Valak says it wasn't just a warning, it was a promise to bring the pack back together. Before I forget, one little thing that was very interesting in this episode were the scenes with Miss Martin, and how she got really angry with Stiles and said that this was all their fault, and she proceeds to turn Lydia over to Eichen House for her care and protection. And at this moment, I'm just like, why are you doing this? This is not right. I partially understand what she's doing. She does understand and know more than she lets on most of the time. But does she not realize most people that check into Eichen House never get out? They don't. They don't normally get out. But yeah, I'm really nervous to see who's gonna live, who's gonna die. So far, I have some theories and I don't want to say them. I'm not gonna speak them aloud because that might make them come true. A couple of things that I want to mention that I'm really excited about are some things that were shown in the previews for the next episodes. We saw Coach is coming back. That's exciting because we thought he was gone for good. He's probably not going to be back full time. It's probably just going to be like a quick guest appearance. Grandpa Argent is back. I love this character. I have met the actor that plays him, and Michael Hogan is an absolute delight. There's just so many things that were shown in that trailer for the rest of the season that have me on the edge of my seat and freaking out. I hope y'all enjoyed this recap and review. Continue to comment, like, and subscribe. And stay tuned next week. Along with my Teen Wolf recap and reviews, I will be doing recap and reviews of the new show Shadowhunters. Bye, guys.